Hello, this is Aaron Claiborne from Wisconsin Voices for Recovery. Today I have Tom with me to share his experience about stigma. How's it going today, Tom?
Very good. Very well. Thank you.
Totally awesome. So I'm glad you could be here. So I'd like to ask you, why does stigma has such a negative effect, a negative influence on people battling substance use disorder when seeking treatment?
Well, you have to understand that these are people that have been thrown everything that there is in life at them. They've battled, every obstacle you can imagine and overcome every hurdle. And when they're at that point, when they are going to seek treatment, they've had acceptance and they go, okay, it's time for me to do this. And the door opens very briefly sometimes in these moments. And like, even in treatment, if there's just this, even the sense of one more hurdle or barrier, even if it's just kind of an emotional connection, you want to establish a connection as soon as you can with people seeking treatment. And because if it's not there, or you've created a barrier, people seeking treatment will just, a lot of people will walk away, say, it's just, I can't do it. It's just one more. That when I'm finally seeking help, there continues to be, people, I continue to be looked at in a certain way. And right when I need it, I need something different. And it's a when it happens, when it's a wonderful thing when somebody's seeking treatment and is met with empathy and caring and a true connection. The healing starts almost immediately. So the opposite side of that, when there's another barrier, it's very difficult, and a lot of people, we lose that chance, at least at that moment, for helping that person, because they just see it as just one more hurdle. And it could be just, just how they're treated. Just, like the first thing we ask them is like, what's your insurance? And, you give them this that they have financial insecurities and all of these things, and they're met with that right away, that, like, they're met with like, oh, they think that I have no insurance, or I'm not responsible for myself, and it's, everything I've been, how I've been looked at my entire life, and this is just one more instance of people judging a book by its cover. And it's just, sometimes it's too much. So we really need to certainly at that moment of somebody coming to our door to seeking treatment, to really go overboard to welcome them and embrace them in this hopefully this new healing journey. So it's very important at that moment.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Thank you for that, Tom. So now
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you, what do you think makes people use stigmatizing language?
Sure. I think, first of all, just we're used to it. We're so used to being in that way, not just for people in recovery, just for everything. We're just, we're embedded in this kind of this opposite of connection, this lack of empathy, really, across the board. And so this is just one more instance where people just are used to, communicating in that way. So I think there's fear, there's ignorance, all of those things come into play. People, I think, feel that it's a little close to home, because we all have some, something that we're battling. And when you're met with somebody else that's battling, it's easier to, stigmatize them, and so you feel less stigmatized yourself. But again, it's a lack of empathy. And then, people want empathy themselves, so it's hard, but it starts with, let's, look empathetically toward everyone else. And that's where it all starts to break down. Stigma is empathy. We need to build that.
Definitely. There's quite a bit of lacking of empathy. Thank you for that, Tom. I appreciate that. So is there anything else you'd like to add in our last 30 seconds before we move forward?
No, I just appreciate, the more we talk about it, the more this, certainly the fear and ignorance parts of it starts to break down, because we're talking about it and we're honest about it on all sides. And that's where, that's where we start to break these barriers down. It's just being open and honest and talking about it. So I appreciate all your efforts to break down barriers.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate your efforts. I know you're always active in the movement, the recovery movement, and I appreciate it. I'm sure our listeners appreciate it. And thank you for being here today, Tom. I appreciate it. Really, really.
Awesome. Awesome.
All right, everybody, check back every day for others sharing their experience about stigma. All right, have a great rest of your day. Thanks.
All right. Thanks. See ya.